Are we going to do...
Or can I just be like running in the background going like this, like looking for Pokemons? Like...
Sadly, that's not how it works.
That's how it is. That's how we see them in the trees. It's like, oh, it's that way. And they're fucking...
Pokemon Go held its own festival this weekend called Pokemon Go Fest. It was meant to be a happy event, bringing together thousands of Pokemon fans who just wanted to have fun and fulfill their dream of catching them all. Now, we understand there's been some issues with the festival, but yeah, we're working on it.
This weekend, the city of Chicago, Illinois was host the first ever Pokemon Go festival. The plan was to host an event where Pokemon Go players could go to socialize, catch rare Pokemon and interact with the app's developers. Tickets were sold at $10 a pop and around 20,000 people attended, with some of them even flying in from other countries just to be there. But as soon as the event started, it was besieged by a ton of issues. First, there were long lines and attendees were forced to wait for hours at a time just to get into the festival field, even though they had tickets. Once attendees actually managed to get into the park, they found that when they tried to play the game, they couldn't because the servers were overloaded. Finally, if you did manage to log onto the game, there was so much lag it made it impossible for players to catch Pokemon, complete raids, or even take on festival exclusive challenges.
However, some of these issues weren't even exclusive to the festival. Pokemon Go players around the world reported connectivity issues, and the game completely died for a few hours. Nevertheless, the event organisers soldiered on and tried to keep everything running, but things got so bad that attendees angrily chanted things like
Running for rare Pokemon.
Wow, this looks like...
and every time someone took to the stage. Then, when the time came for Niantic CEO John Hankey to go on stage, he was met with almost a solid minute of booing from the crowd.
Rachel.
This was really uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah.
We saw some of the highlights and there was so
Low
cringy.
lights, maybe you'd call them.
There were highlights for us,
Yeah.
but low lights for the attendees, I guess.
The hosts were just, I feel bad for them.
Yeah.
I feel like they were part of the problem because they weren't great, to be honest, but they felt like they were having a hard time with it, and there was cuts in the stream and stuff that just weren't happening, so they would be like, oh yeah, here's this thing that I'm supposed to say, and yeah, everything's awesome, we'll see you later, and then they'd keep doing whatever they were doing and the camera would stay on.
And there's like, oh, I should pan away.
Yeah, so it was kind of not the
Jesse
word.
Whelan, wasn't it?
It was a bit Jesse Whelan. The way the crowd were behaving were definitely raised my eyebrow, because at first I thought it was pretty funny, but then the more I watched, the kind of more aggressive and violent they got. Again, about Pokemon. This is the Pokemon Go festival, and there was like very angry adult males
throwing
shouting.
bottles.
Yeah, like shouting so much that their voices were kind of like, "Rah!" It was rage, you know?
People who've spent money to travel across the country or from a different country to attend this event because they love the game, you can understand that.
Yeah.
They waited for hours to get in, so they weren't in the best moods to begin with. They have to voice that frustration to the organisers so that they deal with it and handle it. I don't begrudge them shouting and screaming, but when they threw a bottle at the presenter on stage, that was crossing the line, and all my sympathy that I had for them is like, hang on a minute, you've crossed the line there. That's hooliganism, is what that is.
The whole time there was like this undercurrent of just like angry grumbling and shouting, and there must have been like 3 or 4 guys who were the main shouters, right? And they just kept
fix the game.
Yeah, we can't play.
So
it was
funny.
Yeah, it's worth watching just because of the cringe and the comedy of it. But I mean, as far as crowd behaviour goes, that definitely didn't help the situation. Although, like you said, they did manage to get the issues actually addressed on stage. So they brought out the guy, some PR guy, Mike Quigley, his name was, came on to try and address the concerns head on. And even when he was on, he was getting a load of shit off them as well. But at least they were forced into saying something about it.
Remember that Pokemon Go is a huge game. Like, it's one of the biggest, if not the biggest, mobile game ever. It was the fastest mobile game to cross $1 billion in revenue. It's just saying something.
So phenomenal.
So if that isn't any indication of how many players that this affected, just an outage in itself, just without a festival, would have been huge. But the fact that this happened at a time with this festival and all this shit going on, I don't know. What is it, Mike?
It's bad. It's a classic. Sometimes you get an event like this where just everything that can go wrong does go wrong, between lines, connectivity, crowd being angry, the stream being bad, and people on stage just getting, abused, basically. It all just became this unholy mess, and they want this to be an annual event. So let's see how that pans out. So after the disastrous festival, attendees were offered $100 worth of in-game poker coins as compensation, which just kind of outraged them even more. So on top of that, they were told their ticket price would also be refunded, and the legendary Pokemon that was up for grabs at the festival would be unlocked for everyone to catch.
So the Pokemon Go Fest failed in quite a spectacular fashion, but some had predicted this kind of thing would happen. Niantic's previous game Ingress suffered from the exact same issues when special events were held for that game. Back when Ingress was popular, players complained about connectivity issues and frequent lag during these special events, and Niantic didn't do much about it. So surely they should have learnt their lesson. I mean, you think about 20,000 people in less than 1 square mile worth of area, and you're gonna foresee connectivity issues. Why didn't they contact the service providers and let them know that they're going to need extra bandwidth or whatever during that time? That's the foresight they should have had when organising this event. Surely you go to any stadium or festival or event or football game or something like that, and you don't get any connection on your phone. It's not rocket science. This should have been anticipated. They should have done something.
Especially because the specific purpose of the thing was to get the players there to play the games. You know, you want to make sure that you can cater to that, and also the fact they probably were thinking like, oh, this is a disaster, this isn't going very well anyway, but then you get the hostility from the crowd, and that just changes the dynamic of the situation, puts a lot more pressure on them. They maybe weren't anticipating that kind of response as well. So
those hosts, they did a really great job. So credit to them for sticking to what they were trying to do and get through it. But other than that, just calm down, guys. It's a game. Fun's fun. Like heckling's heckling. But throwing bottles, it's like physical assault, isn't it?
I
but
can't
cracked
imagine.
It on the head, it wouldn't have solved server issues, that's for sure, would it? Do you know what I mean?
I can't
it should have been in hospital.
What would have had to happen for me to be that angry at a festival to throw a bottle at the person on stage? I don't know. There's a great supercut of this that collects all the highlights of it. We watched that, and it's down in the description if you want to see it. It's definitely worth a watch if you want to see what all this was about, and if you want to feel sympathetic for the hosts and kind of laugh at the whole thing as well.
So how do you feel about this whole situation? Did you attend the festival? Were you upset? Do you like Pokemon Go? Are you a fan? Let us know down in the comments below. Like the video if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new around here. Check out another one of the videos right about here on your screen. You can support us on Patreon using the link right there, and we'll see you again in the next video. Bye for now.